Hey y'all! Well, gonna do a little video on where I'm at with my tape project, and I stumbled across one of the club members at the Atlanta Audio Club he's been trying to sell his tape deck with, let me flip this over, you can see, here's the back of it, and then here's the front. It's a Bottlehead Repro tape head preamp, and I don't believe this is being made anymore. And when it was being made, this was like a $4,000 preamp, and this member of the audio club has a Otari, or had, it's now mine, an Otari 5050 MX, and it's the version that has 4 heads. It's got an erase head, it's got a 4-track head, it's got a 2-track head, and then it's got a 2-track playback head before it goes to the other reel. And this guy had sent this deck off to have a Flux Magnetics high-end head replaced on the final 2-track head, and it's wired up with shielded cable to RCA jacks on the back that go to an external preamp. And this is the external preamp he was using. And this has both RCA and XLR outs with single-ended RCA ins. And so I feel like that this is probably kind of a state-of-the-art setup, or maybe 10 years ago it was, and I don't know how much things have changed since then, but this is kind of top shelf tape stuff, and I really wanted to have something to use as a reference when I play around with developing possibly my own tape head preamp, listening to the one and reviewing the one that I got from Holger at Earnhardt Audio, his Titan 3, and I think I've showed you that. That's another tape head preamp I got, and I was kind of struggling to get that to work, or mine to work well with that Tascam deck with the tape head out jacks that I installed in it. I wasn't sure if there was something wrong with that deck or those heads. I mean, it is an old used deck. I mean, I don't know. Could be that Tascam uses really low output heads. It had a lot of gain in the electronics, and these tape head preamps maybe don't have enough gain to deal with those things. I'm learning that the cables make a huge difference on these really low gain or low output devices like tape heads, and you need really low capacitance cables to make it work right. And then some of those are noisier than others. Sometimes the routing needs to be changed. The grounding is pretty tricky to get all sorted out. And so I'm not quite ready to do a review on the Titan 3 yet. It's getting there. I mean, I got it pretty quiet. I think some of the final noise might just be the new production. I'll put it up here, the tubes. And there's another number that I'll put up here that are new old stock quieter versions, which I'm going to experiment with. I've got some different tubes coming for this amp to try to improve the sound of it if I can, or get it a little quieter. Anytime you have tubes in a really high gain preamp, and we're talking, this thing is 65 dBs on the XLR outs, and the one I got from Earnhardt Audio, I think, is 55 dBs, or 50 to 55 dBs. And even in my phono stages, they struggle to be quiet when you've got that much gain. And so, trying to work through all that, I want to make sure that I've given whatever I'm reviewing every opportunity to perform at its best. And it's not a setup problem on my end. And this stuff is kind of tricky to set up. I do want to also give some Blue Jean low capacitance cables a try. I think they claim are some super low capacitance cables that are also well shielded. And so I'm going to give those a try. And I think, oh, I'm getting somewhere. And what sounded the best so far was this preamp using the XLR outs with these new XLR modules with Lundell transformers attached. And here's what the inside looks like. They sit back here like this. And then here's a close-up of what they look like all wired in. And these things perform fantastic. And so I installed a pair in this color preamp that I'm sending out to a customer that wanted some XLR input jacks. And after testing, it's like, yes, these work great. So if you are interested in adding XLR jacks to one of your projects, this is the way to go. It's not cheap. The transformers with the boards and everything, you're going to spend probably under $350, but it's over $300, maybe $325ish. By the time you get shipping and stuff, it's going to be close to $350 for a pair of them. But that is high fidelity, and that's what you're going to have to spend if you want really nice sounding XLR inputs on a tube amp. And I've been down that conversation before. Wasn't a big fan of any of the op amp implementations that I've seen, and neither am I a fan of the like really cheap little tiny transformers I've seen used on like the MusiShare X7 with balanced inputs. Those inputs do not sound good. These do. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at with my tape project. And I showed you installing the pinch roller. You know, we tried this little cheap tire that was all out around and just didn't, yeah, I was like, I'm not doing that. And so I got a really nice one from Athen Corp, I think is the name of it, that makes tape products. And this deck does have the upgraded little roller wheels and the tape path and everything. So it's a super nice deck. I'm getting some really pretty wood side plates made for it. And when I get that all done, we'll kind of go over that tape deck and what it is. But this Bottlehead guy really does sound nice. The Titan 3 from Earnhardt Audio is starting to sound really good. But again, it took a while to get the setup right. And when I first hooked it up, I was kind of like, man, this is noisy. It just doesn't sound good. Stuff, and playing with grounding and playing with different cables. And I want to play with some different tubes. I think I'm going to be able to get to a point where it's going to be really nice too. And it is a current produced item that's half the price of this one. And, you know, I guess I'll talk for a minute here about, like, why are you doing this tape thing? And I'm a firm believer that the source is super important. And I'm not discounting that speakers are important or amplifiers are important or, you know, that all that other stuff is important. But if you don't have a good source, you can put $100,000 speakers on the end of the audio chain, and it ain't going to fix a bad source. And I personally, okay, I haven't invested the kind of money that some of you may have had in your streaming setups, but I've tried things that people say or give reviews on that say they're really good sounding products. I'm just not hearing it. And yeah, I know it's convenient. I know it's inexpensive once you get past the, you know, the gear to hook up to online, and you're just paying, you know, $20 a month for a streaming service, and you get every song on the planet kind of a thing. And yeah, I know I'm spending between $300 and $500 for a reel-to-reel tape. And it's like, man, that adds up quick. And it's like, yeah, but it sounds amazing. And I'm not buying $100,000 speakers. I've got my pair of Quad S2s that I got on sale for under $1,000, and I'm getting sound that, to me, destroys streaming through a $250,000 system that I've heard other people having when I go over to their house. And I listen to it and I'm just like, I'm not impressed. And it's the same thing with the vinyl deal. Really good vinyl. It's not all really good. There's some garbage vinyl out there, but some of it is so good that when you play it through a really good cartridge and a nice preamp, it's just going to be next level. And that's kind of the direction that I'm going with my system, is focusing on getting a super clean, super detailed resolving source. And again, garbage in, garbage out. You know, really good in doesn't mean that you're going to get really good out, but you're not going to get really good out if you're putting garbage in and you're really limiting what your system's able to do. And the main argument that I've heard from people when we start talking about this stuff versus, you know, streaming thing, it's just like, but the streaming's so convenient. I can just get on my phone and go. It's like, okay, you know, taking pictures with your cell phone is not going to equal what you get with a high-end DSLR with top-end glass. It's just not going to do that. But it's convenient. And if you're willing to deal with the lower quality, that's what MP3s were all about. And there was a whole generation of people that accepted that as good enough. And I want something better than good enough. And that's why I'm going down this rabbit hole. And I'm willing to spend the money to do it. And, you know, I don't want to shame people that maybe don't have the budget to do this. You know, I do have some extra money to spend on my audio gear. And some of it's thanks to you guys that are, you know, buying my equipment or, you know, subscribing to my channel and watching videos and the income I get off YouTube, which isn't a lot. I'll be honest, I get like $500 a month off YouTube. So it's not like I'm getting rich off that. But, you know, over almost a year of YouTube content, I have $5,000 to spend, and I went out and bought, you know, this $4,000 used tape deck with this preamp, and I feel like I got a good deal. So, anyway, just wanted to kind of give you an update on where I'm at with my tape stuff and my journey down reel-to-reel tape stuff. If you can find one of these Bottlehead guys, and it's at a reasonable price and you're into tape stuff, I would suggest buying one. I mean, it sounds really nice, and it sounds way better than the internal electronics in any of these tape decks. And so, if you're going to buy a tape deck, you know, that's used, that's 30 years old, you need a budget to have somebody rebuild all the electronics. And this is a way to not have to do that, is to have the electronics external. So, anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Hope you enjoyed this content. I'm going to do some more reel-to-reel stuff soon. As soon as I get this kind of everything kind of sorted out, I'm going to be doing a comprehensive review on that Titan 3 that I got from Earnhardt Audio. We're going to be looking at possibly adding some XLR outputs to that amp, which is an option. And I've been talking with Holger. They may do some upgrades to that preamp based off what I've been experiencing testing with this and stuff. So, you know, hey, product improvement's always a good thing, and I love being a part of that. So, anyway, if you're enjoying this content, please subscribe. Please like the video. Comment below if you're into tape stuff and what your experience has been. I know a lot of people are perfectly happy with the 7.5 IPS 4-track stuff. And I've actually got a new Pioneer deck. It's a 7.0 something. Anyway, we'll be going over that soon. I've still got a tube 7.5-inch deck that I want to overhaul at some point. And yeah, I don't want to turn this into a reel-to-reel tape channel, but this is some fun stuff, and I hope you're enjoying it too. So until the next video, have a nice day.